Okay, it is October 28, 6 p.m. We're here on the second floor of City Hall for our Common Council meeting. Agenda's been posted, media has been notified. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Stephen Jopek.
Here.
Luke Kramer.
Here.
David Holt.
Here.
Gerald Anderson.
Here.
Bob Luder.
Here.
Carrie Michalowski.
Here.
Leanne Felton.
Here.
Thomas Barnett. Chris Hannes.
Here. So we have 7 out of 8, which is quorum. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to number 4, which is public comment. I have a John Hack. Oh, if you could just push the button and it turn red.
Okay, that's good. All right, sorry. My name is John Hack. I am the supervisor for Rhinelander Public Transit. And now with you guys not funding us, you're putting 17 to 18 people out of a job. We would have been hired because we want to be up to about 20. You're also putting people like Jim over here and Brian here without a ride. I mean, they can get the bus 7 to 5, but we run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If a person gets hurt or from one of the nursing homes goes to the ER at, let's say, 10 o'clock or midnight, they sometimes get released. Well, they call us because we have the wheelchair accessible vans, and we go and pick them up, and we take them back to the nursing homes because we operate 24 hours a day. Now you say that our rides are down, but Monday through Friday anyways, we're doing about 100 to 140. The beginning of the month, we're doing quite a bit more because people get paid, you know. I know you guys got whole day cab, but whole day cab does not pay the wages that we do. They pay about $8 to $9 an hour, where we pay $12 an hour starting, which people, you can say, oh, well, you get tips. Yeah, but most of our people are on a fixed income. Most of our riders are. They get, some of them do, you know, some of them might give us 75 cents or $1 every once in a while, but that's all they can afford. You guys are taking away a big part of our transportation system here in Rhinelander, I believe. We also have digital. We have computers. We have somebody in the office that's taking the calls, putting in the computer, sending the calls out to our drivers on tablets. On our tablets, we have a thing that we can push a button, and it notifies our customer, our passenger that we're going to go pick up, that we're on the way. So they get ready to go, and when we get there, we also push one that we have arrived. Whole day cab doesn't have any of this. Whole day cab, especially during the nighttime, I know for sure, they answer the phone while they're driving the vehicle. They might have 3 or 4 calls, and then they'll forget one because they just got a call, and they just got another call, and they just got another call. I know that from experience because I used to work for Rapid Cab before I started working for running. You forget calls. To me, that's dangerous. We don't have that at our company at all. That's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Jim.
Rosenthal.
Yep. Sorry about that. Yep.
That's okay. Lots of people have trouble with that one. Can you hear me? Or
Yes.
okay, thank you. My name is Jim Rosenthal. I am a resident of Rhinelander. I have lived here now for a bit over 3 years. When I had to move from Appleton, my daughter looked through the North Woods to find a place for me to live, and we chose Rhinelander because of the quality of life in this community. And I have lived here for 3 years. It is the friendliest, kindest community I have ever lived in. People here are wonderful. The quality of life is wonderful, and I support it. I think you do a wonderful job of providing quality life for the people of Rhinelander. Right now, we face a situation where, as of January 1st, you've chosen not to fund Rhinelander public transportation. I'm here as the face of one of the people who's going to be affected by that. And I would like to let you know what that's going to mean to me. For me, first and foremost, I have no way to go to church anymore. For me, that's important, because I go twice a week, every week. I have no way to buy groceries because I have a Medicare supplement plan that gives me a debit card that I have to go in person to Walmart to buy my groceries. I can't use delivery. I can't use pickup. I can only go and use that debit card at the checkout. That's over 50% of my groceries. I use Rhinelander taxi to go to the doctor. I have used it several times to go to the ER. I have neuropathy and recently put a gash in my leg that bled for 4 days, and finally went to the ER, and now I'm going to be going to the wound clinic and I take care of all those things. I also shop in Rhinelander. I support as many businesses as I possibly can here in Rhinelander to help support small business and to create jobs, because I believe in that. I use the service for nearly everything I do. I support the young people that I know through church and other places who are involved in school activities by going to their activities and supporting them, whether it be in music or sports. I live and breathe this community. My daughter lives and grandkids live in Eagle River, but I'm a dyed-in-the-wool and I love living here. And as I interact in this community, I am shown kindness and compassion and concern like no place I have ever lived in my life. And I'm going on 80 years old. I'm on dialysis, so I go 3 times a week and fight for my life so that I can live here and have a life. It's important to me. I'm going to give you some figures that I've tried to glean. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't have time to go through all the records. My understanding is that the subsidy is about $300,000 a year. Is that correct? Somewhere in that neighborhood?
So this section is a public comment, so it's not an interaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty, I'm sorry. I also understand that there are about 1,500 people in Rhinelander with special needs. And that are approximately 8,000 residents of Rhinelander. So that's approximately 20%. And at this point, with your action on January 1st, you are leaving almost 20% of the community, people like me who need these services to have a life, or I will be sitting in my apartment 24/7 the rest of my life. I need this service, and I ask you to please consider it. If it's $300,000 a year, and there are 1,500 people, that comes to about $200 a person, if my math is correct. And I'm asking you to consider, am I worth $200 a year to have a life? Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. I have John, who lives on Harvey Street.
Good evening, guys. My name is John. I'm East Harvey Street. I noticed we are having some speeding issues. It's an improvement the last time I talked to you guys. If you guys were to redo Harvey Street, I do recommend putting like a speed sign like Timber, Stevens, River Street to tell drivers they're going too fast or they're doing good. Like, it's election year and you're upsetting a lot of people. It's not a good idea to upset people during election season. Like, you guys are doing good. On my end, you're listening pretty well. You're doing something about speeding. Appreciate it, making the town safer. I'm a runner. Like, I don't carry my phone when I run, since I'm wearing shorts with no pockets when I run, or it's not good to have your phone when you run. With me, I could run like 4-minute mile to up to 7-minute mile. Depends the weather, the temp, and the course I'm training for. And what is the workout is planned too. I do not want to get hit by a vehicle during a run, which I'm asking you guys, you could do better job of safety around the town, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Austin Zarda for election update.
So I just wanted to give a quick update here. We are exactly 8 days away from the election, but who is counting, especially not me. So we've had 681 absentee ballots requested by mail. 541 of those have been returned as of this afternoon, so that's about an 80% return rate, which is probably about within the top 15 to 20% for municipalities in the state, which is really good. We've had 329 people early vote in person. I appreciate all the voters for coming out early to vote, and I appreciate the other department heads in City Hall for dealing with the increased traffic. This has been by far the highest early voting in-person turnout that I've ever seen. So along with those two, with our nursing homes, we are at 925 voters have already cast their ballot in the city of Rhinelander out of about 4,300 registered voters. So that's about 21.5% of people have already cast their ballot. Just want to remind everybody that early voting in person ends this Friday, and that's at 4:30 p.m. So I highly recommend folks come out, vote early, get it done with, because it's going to be very busy on Election Day. And as a reminder, if you can't vote early, Election Day is next Tuesday, the 5th of November. Polls are open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Thank you.
What's the location of the polling?
At the Hodag Dome, right in between the high school and the junior high.
Is there anyone else for public comment? Did any of the alders have any public comment? Oh. Well, both could. So I don't know if Mr. Jopek wants to go first.
All right. Good evening. Sorry, it's a little bit weird to stand up here. Good evening. I am Stephen Jopek, the District 8 alderperson, and I'm the representative for the district for which the Hodag store lies. Recently, the Hodag store attempted to receive a variance for the use of a storage container on the property. The variance was denied by the zoning board as the request didn't meet the ordinance requirements for such variance. The owner of the store pointed out that there are multiple instances within the city for which the ordinance regulating the use of the shipping containers was not being enforced. As such, the enforcement of his property appeared to be unfair and unequal from his allegations. I'm here simply to state that the evidence he produced, his claim of unequal enforcement, has some validity, and we have put forward into the public record that being District 8's representative, I've been in direct contact with the city administrator, the fire chief, as well as the inspections department to ensure that enforcement of these other instances is being carried out and will be, by ordinance, adjudicated in the near future. All three, the administrator, fire chief, and zoning, have been extremely helpful in advancing this request for this to happen in a timely manner and have my deepest respect. While I can't speak for the zoning board or undo their decisions, I can speak for any allegations of unfair treatment and that the city and its employees are addressing enforcement according to the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if you still want to speak for public comment. If you just want to make sure the mic's on. There you go.
Hi, City of Rhinelander. I'm Jennifer Berger, and I work for this Rhinelander Street Department. I've been a loyal and conscientious employee for over 24 years. I am here speaking in regards to the aldermen voting on a huge cut in our insurance benefits that will have an adverse effect on my family. The city is having a hard time keeping and hiring new employees as the benefits are now, and you're thinking about chiseling away more at our current benefits. With more cuts, you are not going to keep current employees or entice any quality new employees. Please vote no into cutting our current insurance benefit package. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there anyone else for public comment? Any of the alders have any other public comment? No. Okay, moving on to number 5, mayor's comments. I have none at this time. Moving on to number 6, administration report. Patrick,
No, nothing outside of what was submitted.
any questions on his report? Not seeing. Moving on to public hearings. None apply for this meeting. Moving on to 8A, which is a presentation, City Healthcare Plan Renewal 2025. I refer to our city administrator first.
Rebecca, I don't know if Rebecca's here. Oh, there she is. So Rebecca Johnstone from M3 has a presentation on the city's proposed health insurance plan for 2025 for employees. Rebecca, please.
Is it on? There we go. All right, good evening. I am with M3 Insurance, and so I partner with the city in putting together benefits for the employees. I'm going to walk through, if we just kind of move on to the next slide. Excellent. I'm going to kind of give the lay of benchmarking. So one of the things that we do when looking at a medical plan for the city or for really any clients that we work through with, we look at benchmarking. How is the area? How would that affect you here? And then I'm going to talk about utilization of the plan. I'll also go over the renewal and where the numbers are coming in at. And then we'll discuss what your current plan is and then just kind of suggestions with alternate options to get the overall premium down, and then go very briefly on the dental plan. So this is a little hard to see, but you can kind of see the numbers in front of you. This benchmarking is going off of north central Wisconsin, going north all the way over to the west. And when we look at this, some of the things that we want to see is, one, where is a deductible, where is the co-insurance, and the total out-of-pocket maximum. The deductible for the city, they have a high deductible health plan. So all of the services that you need to meet, you do need to meet a deductible first before the insurance carrier would pay. So when we look at 2018, you will see that the deductible, it was lower, so it was about $2,300. As we move forward into 2024, the deductible has increased, and the only benchmark that I'm going off of is public sector, so it would be schools and government. So when we look at this with 2018 at a $2,300 individual deductible, we move fast forward to 2024, it has increased to about $3,000. So to be exact, $2,964. Then when we look at the co-insurance, so today with the city, the co-insurance that you have in place today, it is set at 100%. Back in 2018, we were looking at closer to 100%. It's at about 98.9%. Fast forward to 2024, it has moved to a 95.5%. And then your total out-of-pocket cost for an individual, back in 2018, it was about $2,900, and then fast forward in 2024, it has increased to almost $3,600. So unfortunately, there are changes that do need to take place over time within a health plan, but we do, again, like to look at the benchmark to see what are other public sectors doing today and compare it to the city of Rhinelander. Then on the next slide, it will go more into the rates. So this is where it's difficult because we do live in an area that is the fourth most expensive healthcare cost in the nation. So when you see that, it's already a little frustrating to look for plans. We don't have much competition in this area. So that's probably the other area that really hurts, where these numbers might be a little alarming to you. So back in 2018, for an individual premium, it was $800 per employee. So individual coverage, $800. Fast forward to 2024, the average or the benchmark is coming in, at $929. So that's pretty high for one person to be on a medical plan. With the makeup how City of Rhinelander is, you also have employee plus one, but the benchmark where it's bringing is $1,500. And then for a family, the average is $2,154. When we blend all this together, we like to see what does it cost for an employee per year to be covered under medical insurance. And the average cost per employee per year is coming in at $21,540. So now, how does the city compare to this data that I just went over? The deductible today with the city is $5,000. There is an option to purchase a health reimbursement account. So there is a premium associated with that. But by having a health reimbursement account, that is about $2,000, bringing the overall exposure to about $3,000. So that is very close to the benchmark and where it's coming in at $2,964. When we look at coinsurance today, the coinsurance is set at 100%. The average is 95.5%. With an out-of-pocket maximum, $5,000 is City of Rhinelander, but if you bring the HRA in, that's taken off $2,000. So it's very close to the benchmark of being $3,597. And then you'll see below, this is where City of Rhinelander's numbers are coming in very strong compared to the average premiums that we're seeing out there in the marketplace. Employee single coverage HMO, so that's the Aspirus Signature Network, is coming at $698 for you. And the average benchmark is $928. If we blend it together and having an out-of-network included in the charge, it would bring about the single premium to being $768. So even if, as you look below, the employee plus one, even plus family premium, City of Rhinelander's amounts are still less than where we see benchmark coming in. And then on the next page, we're going to dig a little bit deeper now into the utilization of the plan. This is truly where we're going to start seeing numbers. The benchmark helps when we talk with the insurance carrier. So it's Aspirus Health Plan, is who is with the City of Rhinelander today. So what we do have to look at is how many employees are on the plan. So it averages about 80 employees, 210 average members. So that's total belly buttons covered on the plan. The medical claims, and we're looking from a current period of August 1st, 2023 through July 31st, 2024. So there's always a lag when there's fully insured premiums. The carriers have about a 3-month lag. So this is the claims dollars that we're pulling through from that time period. The medical came in at 1.673 million, with pharmacy claims being 229,549. Add that together, that's a little over 1.9 million. However, the total premium paid by the city was only 1.167. And I don't mean to only say only, but when those were the premiums that are being paid towards Aspirus, Aspirus is picking up anything over that total premium paid by the city. So it brings out a loss ratio of 163%. And then this is in case you like it with a visual. It will show you month by month, going back from August 23 all the way through, and you will see how the months hit. You'll see certain months where claims were coming through or a high cost claim has hit the plan. Unfortunately, these claims are still ongoing, so when Aspirus was looking at the renewal, it does not help to have over 120%, really doesn't help to have over 100. The target ratio is 85%. So it's a little bit harder of a story to kind of fight with the renewal when it's coming in where it's coming in today. So just a little background with what went on when looking at the renewal. The renewal was released at an 18.6%. That's how it calculated from Aspirus standpoint. Aspirus then did release it at 16.5. We wanted to make sure to see, is there anything better that can be done other than 16.5? Because yes, that is still a decent increase onto medical premiums. We did reach out to Security Health Plan. Both United Healthcare and Anthem were a lot higher than when Security Health Plan came in. But with Security Health Plan's numbers, they were plus 31% increase from the current. So Aspirus, we did go back and we asked if any other relief they would be willing to give. They gave 1 more percent and it brought it down to 15.5%. And then we also looked at alternate options to see what would it look like to bring the premium even more down, because 15.5 is still pretty high. There is a recommended change, and the reason for the recommended change is so that the financials that come through are not so extreme. By the recommending a change in just the coinsurance with 80/20 and then a slight change to the out-of-pocket maximum, it could bring it back down closer to an 8% renewal. The way the current plan sets up today, it is, again, a high deductible health plan. You have an individual deductible of $5,000, $10,000 for a family. However, if one person cannot meet more than the individual deductible. The coinsurance for this plan, the plan now is 100%. So once, no matter what services you have done, prescriptions you have done, once you meet your $5,000 deductible, you would be covered 100%. If you have family coverage, if there's 2 of you, you each would have a $5,000 deductible, then be covered 100%. If it's a family, it could be a combined way if you had to get to the $10,000. But if you don't hit the deductible, all of the services except for preventive care would be covered first dollar, as long as you're staying within network and the Aspirus network that you choose. All of those dollars will equal up into the deductible, and then you would be covered. There's also a different plan. There's 2 options. That is the in-network only. So if that plan was chosen, there would be no out-of-network benefits. There is also a freedom network with a point of service, and what that means is out-of-network benefits are added in. So the plan still works the same with the individual in-network deductible of $5,000 individual, $10,000 family. But if you were to go out of network, there's a separate deductible. So it'd be $7,500 for an individual, $15,000 for family, but then a different coinsurance. So now it's an 80-20 split. So once you hit the deductible, Aspirus will pay 80%, you pay 20%, up to that out-of-pocket maximum of $9,500 for individual, $19,000 for family. Now, out-of-network is not always the advised way to go. It's there in case you needed to seek care. But the Aspirus network, Aspirus is surrounding this area. If you lived further out, there's other hospital systems that is still included within their signature plan. But by going out of network, if they did not contract with Aspirus, you could also be balance billed. So it's definitely can spend a lot more money should you go out of network. If you were to say, or if the council was to say, yes, we want to go renew as is at that 15.5%, it does change the annual combined total cost today of 1.28 million to 1.47 million, a little bit, more than that. So that brings an annual change from current to almost $200,000. So 198,473 if these plans were to be renewed as is. If you go to the next slide, you will see that there's a new option that is sent out as a recommendation, and this plan would be keeping the deductible the same. So you would have $5,000 individual, $10,000 family. However, that coinsurance now would change to 80% Aspirus, 20% the individual, up to an out-of-pocket maximum now of $7,350 for a single and $14,700 for a family. Everything else, so again, the same way the plan works, you hit your deductible, but the difference now, whereas before you're covered 100%, there is now a share up to that out-of-pocket maximum. Preventive care is still covered at 100%. There's also some prescriptions that are covered in full that would cost no additional cost. It'd be $0 copay. That out-of-network, or I should say the Freedom Network plan, those out-of-networks would stay the same. So again, the only changes that we would be proposing would be to the coinsurance at the in-network level of 80/20, and then the coinsurance, 80% after deductible. Then you see the out-of-pocket maximums being the same as the current plan. And then by making those changes, it has now brought the annual from current to $109,000. So as opposed to the $200,000, it's about a savings of $88,586 by making this change. And then on the next slide is I can go briefly through these networks that are offered today. But the Signature Network, the nice thing with Aspirus is it's not only Aspirus hospitals. Security Health Plan has it where it's only Marshfield. Aspirus does it where they open other hospital systems into play. So no, it is not Marshfield. That would be out of network on this plan. You can't go to Oakleaf, and you cannot do Mayo within Wisconsin area. But they do have Aurora, they have Bellin, they have UW Health, Gunderson. They have a list of different hospitals should you need to seek care for other services that might not be able to be taken here. As well as Bone and Joint, they have ENT, Surgical Associates. So there's a list of different providers that are still included within the Signature Network. And then on the next page, you'll see the Freedom Point of Service Network. This one is where Marshfield, Oakleaf, and Freighter is brought back into the network. It is a little bit more expensive to have a Freedom Network, but then again, there is more choice. Then you would get the Signature Network plus a few different hospital systems within the Wisconsin area. And then just kind of rounding out the medical offerings. So with Aspirus, with the changes for 2025, just by looking at the numbers and benchmarking on how other, government, whether it's government or public schools, public sector in general, by changing that out-of-pocket maximum and the coinsurance by 100% could save the city almost $100,000 by making this change, as opposed to taking on the plan that they have today. There is that slight change to the max out-of-pocket, as well as the coinsurance, but those deductibles are staying the same, as well as the network that is in place today. The HRA, which is the health reimbursement account that employees can elect, so the city would still continue to pay 100% of that Signature Network, which has other health systems included, as well as a lot of those services within the Wausau area. The HRA gives a little bump by taking off that $2,000 should people utilize the services, but the premiums for HRA, the recommendation would be for single, $100, for employee plus one, $200, and family would be $300. And then the last benefit, just to touch on, the dental plan. The dental's running great. It's with Delta Dental. The plan is almost running to where it's being funded today, which is great. So we know that the premiums being paid for this plan is covering what should be covered with claims as well as administration. So for the dental plan, again, Delta Dental, and they utilize the PPO and Premier Network, and every per cover member would receive a $1,000 annual benefit. There is no deductibles. So for any preventive care, x-rays done, it would be covered at 100%. And then any basic and major services would be covered at 50%, with implants not being covered. If you want ortho, ortho is covered for adults and children, and it would be a $1,000 lifetime maximum. So the nice thing here is you get at least a benefit if you're adult as well. Not many plans cover the adults on ortho. The premiums, this is a 50-50 split, so the employees pay 50%, but you'll see on the monthly total comes at about $6,200, with the annual total for the dental plan at $74,529. And there is no rate increase this year. And that is all I have for you, so thank you.
Mr. Anderson?
I just wondered if she had any figure for whoever a typical or average employee is, how much additional they would end up paying based on past experience with these increases in deductible and copay.
So with this just being a presentation, that might be more appropriate when we get to the discussion item. So this is just her giving a presentation at this point, so. Okay, so moving on to number 9, proclamations, none apply for this meeting. Moving on to number 10, consent agenda. We have 2 items. We have the October 14th meeting minutes from the Common Council and October 12th, the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting minutes.
Holt, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Kramer, second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
David Holt.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Luke Kramer.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett. Bob Luter.
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to 11, ordinances. Second reading of adoption of proposed ordinance 2024-8. Refer to the city administrator.
And I will refer to Austin or Steve, the city attorney. Steve, it might be better if you handle this. I know there was some discussion on this. It's basically over a liquor license, trying to bring us up to the same as state statute.
Yeah, and I went through the entire ordinance, and thank you, Gerald, because Gerald pointed out a couple things that we should have attention. The first paragraph under 4.05.01, parent 1, close 1, and the second line, it says, in this chapter, as if full set forth, it should be fully, but that's just a Scribner's error, and I'm sure we can make that error. Correction. The second question was brought up, and this is complicated, and I did research, and I talked to the department actually today of revenue. If you look in the sub 2, just below what we were discussing, it's under B, it says separate license required for each place of sale, period. Then it goes on, except for licensed public warehouses. Then it goes on to say, a license shall be required for each location or premise that is in direct connection or communication to each other where intoxicating liquor or fermented beverages are stored, sold, or offered for sale. Frankly, I read that and it didn't make any sense at all to me. Because you'd think what it's trying to say is you'd like to have it say where they're not in direct connection, they should be able to. So what the department said, and I can go to that so that there's no question, this is their quotation to me. This statement means that in Wisconsin, according to state liquor laws, a separate liquor sales license is needed for each distinct location where alcohol is stored, sold, or offered for sale
unless the location is a licensed public warehouse, where multiple sales points can operate under one license if they are connected and communicate with each other. I don't, and I'm sure that Gerald would agree with me, I don't think that they used the best English context to put that sentence together, but that's the state's interpretation, and that interpretation makes sense. And what it's saying is, and this would be the law in Rhinelander because it's the law in the state of Wisconsin, if you had a public warehouse and that public warehouse had a storage area and also had a retail space, as long as the retail and storage space could connect with each other and talk to each other, it would be okay to have one license. But if you have more than one retail space, whether it's in a big building, whether it's in a stadium, the Lambeau Field is what they used as an example, you have to have separate licenses for every single one of the locations. And the reason is because you have to have a person on staff who has a license, who is operating and can view what's going on. And whether or not they can see the other one down the hall, that's immaterial if it's not a public warehouse. And the public warehouse exception was actually written for the breweries and the wineries in Wisconsin. And of course, now we've written new laws for breweries and wineries, which will be taking place in 2025, because we'll be coming back to you, quite frankly, I hate to tell you this, Austin, we'll be coming back with a whole new set of revisions, because the alcohol beverage law has been changed, and the majority of it's going to take place in 2025. But there's no misconstruing of the language. It makes sense. It just says that if you're going to have more than one location within a space or like a park or a public building or even a private building, a large, big private building, and they have to all have their own licenses if they're all storing, selling, or offering for sale. And I guess that makes sense. That's what the law is, and so we're just duplicating the state law. But I did research that at Gerald's request. The other thing that I do think would be appropriate for an amendment in this ordinance is if you turn to page 46, I believe it is, 45, it starts on page 45, and it's Q under that section. It talks about improper exhibitions. Well, apparently, once upon a time when this statute was passed, or this ordinance was passed by the city, and it wasn't any of us, whomever put this into the ordinance left in the what we call the whereas provisions. The whereas provisions are simply part of a resolution to tell you why you're passing an ordinance. If you go down past the several whereas provisions, you'll see a line that says on page 46, now, comma, therefore, comma, the Common Council of the City of Rhinelander do ordain, should be does, but okay, do ordain as follows. And then there's your ordinance starts. And that's really what the ordinance was as it was passed. My recommendation to you as a council would be that the whereas paragraphs commencing on page 45 through the provision number 1 says new dancing and license established and prohibited. Everything up to that line be removed from this ordinance as an amendment to the ordinance. So I'm basically saying there should be 2 amendments. The word full should be turned to fully, and that this provision should be removed. And I think that's consistent with what you were suggesting, Gerald. Is that correct?
Yes, very well explained. So I move adoption of ordinance 2024-08, amending section 4.05.01 of City Code of Ordinance to read as it's laid out in the packet, except that in paragraph 1, second line, full shall be fully, and then in paragraph 5.2, delete all the whereas clauses and the ordaining clause, which is everything that Steve just described. And that middle line on my sheet here will ignore.
Hold second.
Motion second, any discussion on the motion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Thomas Barnett, Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
Bob Luder,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Luke Kramer,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to 12, unfinished business. A, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-126, be adjusting the fee schedule for the city clerk. Turn to Austin.
All right, so as I was updating this ordinance, and I greatly appreciate everybody's help for updating that ordinance because it was a large ordinance to update, I also decided to look at the fee schedule to make sure that it accurately represented the amount of work that we go through, especially with these new changes in these liquor licensing laws. It has created a lot more administrative work that does go into these laws. So through this, I researched with other communities of similar size and geographic area. So then you can see on page 53 of the fees that I looked to change. So just to point out a few of them here, for the publication fee, the amount that it costs to put in the newspaper that we are legally required to notify that we are we're offering a liquor license to an establishment. We were not covering our fee under $15, so I looked to bump that up to $25 to accurately cover that. Then for both Class A and Class B liquor licenses, so that is actually selling liquor, we are moving that to be prorated by month, as well as we are looking to change it from $350 to $500. Provisional operator's license, we are actually not following state law with that by charging 25. State law says you can charge a max of 15, so that's why I've bumped that down. Temporary operator's license, we just made that match your normal operator's license, which is what a vast majority of municipalities do. And I think that was it for the changes that we've proposed. So not only does the city clerk's office do administrative work with this, but both the fire department and the police department, as well as the inspections department, are all involved in this process. So these fee changes will not only have us match state law, but also accurately cover the administrative costs to do these licenses.
Ms. Mikulowski.
I move to approve resolution number 2024-126, approving the proposed adjustments by the city clerk to city's schedule of fees.
Luder, second.
Motion second, any discussion on the motion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Luke Kramer,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett, Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Bob Luder.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to 13, new business A. This was actually requested by Mr. Barnett, who couldn't make tonight's meeting, so if no one objects, I would just like to move it to our next meeting. Okay. Moving on to B, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-135. This is regarding the healthcare benefits for city employees for the year 2025. I'll go back to you, Mr. Anderson, since...
Yeah, but what I was looking for was if there was some estimate of what it would cost the average employee compared to what we've been doing, what we did this year.
I think she's still...
Rebecca, are you still here? Nothing like putting you on the spot.
Okay, so for the signature plan, the city is paying 100% of that amount. And so there are 9 individuals that are paying a little bit more. So I wouldn't have exact numbers. I can definitely get that to you, but the city is pretty much taken on the increase by paying 100% of the signature plan.
Well, how about, doesn't the change in the deductible and the show insurance?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Well, it seems to me that if there's a change in the deductible and the co-insurance, that employees might end up paying more.
The employer, so there is an increase to the cost for sure, but the utilization of the plan for this year has exceeded the amount. So when we're looking at a 163% loss ratio, Aspires has lost money in this sense. So even the renewal won't even cover the amount that Aspires covered for this plan year. And so when we look at let's say for the current plan, got the 15.5% increase, Aspirus is still losing this year. But they do value the relationship of the city of Rhinelander. And when we look, that's why we wanted to see what another carrier would bring. When they showed 31% increase, that was the best a different carrier could do. There's not much more. I mean, we'll try to see what type the claimants are. Is there anything we can do? But at this time, with the loss ratio at where it's at, there's nothing we can do without making changes to the plan.
I have a couple questions for you. So if we keep the plans as currently for 2024, you're saying it would be $198,473 increase to the city?
That is correct. Yes, starting January 1. Mhm.
And then if we were to make the changes you're recommending, it would only be a $109,887 increase to the city.
That is correct.
So it's not really a savings, just a savings from the new
It's definitely
potential
had a
high.
the renewal savings off the renewal amount that you would. Yes, so this does look like it would be a savings, but taking it off by making these changes, the city could see about 89,000.
And then where the potential increased cost to the employee would be is if they use the plan through the deductible percentage as well as the threshold.
That is correct. So then if you look at it for those individuals that have hit the plan today, they would be seeing, because it would be, and what we're seeing is it's not the highest utilization that are even coming close to the deductible today. Where is it at? So by the individual, the amount would increase by $2,350 for single and then $4,700 for family. So that is correct. If the individuals using the plan, they will notice an additional amount of money to be paid.
And when do you need an answer to keep everything rolling for first of the year?
We can definitely, so open enrollment is Thursday, we can definitely change that date and make it a different time. You have until, we're in still plenty of time to let us know. So if you need another week, we need to push, again, open enrollment out, we can absolutely do so.
Thank you. Mr. Jopek?
You asked a lot of the questions. I was wondering, I guess the reasoning for pushing it back, I don't know. It sounds like they've explored many different options or tried to bring in outside providers, and that didn't bring us any kind of relief on that end. So I don't know is there any foreseeable change that could come from pushing it back just a little bit longer? Like, is there any more exploration we can do to try and alleviate this?
At this time, no. Unfortunately, is changing the plan to take less, cost off the city. But for those individuals using the plan, yes, you will hear now they have to pay an additional amount for an out-of-pocket cost. But at this time, we have exhausted all options for bringing down the cost anymore without making changes to the plan.
So the one thing by pushing it off, the city could reevaluate if we want to spend additional cost. So that's something we could go to department head meeting tomorrow, ask them to make budget cuts in order to cover this, but it won't change the outcome from the cost of the city. It would just be how do we allocate the funds we have. So I mean, that would be my recommendation is we postpone this to our next meeting, which would be 2 weeks. If it doesn't push back the deadline, that way department heads can make cuts if they choose, and then we could come back to you with a revised budget.
I guess that you just answered my question perfectly, so I appreciate that. Yeah.
Mr. Holt?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to table this until the next council meeting.
Kramer, second.
Motion second. Any discussion?
No discussion on a vote.
Very good point.
table.
Clerk, please take the roll call.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Luke Kramer.
Aye.
Carrie Michalowski.
Aye.
Bob Luder.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett. David Holt.
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Motion table approved. Moving on to 13C, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-136. This is regarding setting a public hearing date for the shared ride program. Return to our city administrator.
As part of the discontinuance of the shared ride program, we've been notified by WisDOT that you have to set a public hearing. Seems a little backwards, but this is the way they communicated with Wendy and I that this is how it needs to be done. So in there, you'll see in your packet, you'll see an email from WisDOT that shows what we need to do in order to notice this and to set this public hearing.
Mr. Holt?
Are you asking for us to set that date?
Correct.
So motion to set a public hearing for first council meeting in November? Is that what you're asking for? Or
it's-
you're
if-
asking for?
No, it's the second, it's the second. You have to have 21 to 30 days
Okay.
of notice.
Joe Peck moved to approve resolution number 2024-136, approving the setting of a public hearing for the discontinuance of the city's shared ride taxi program for November 25th, 2024 at 6 p.m.
Anderson, second.
Okay, there's a motion second. Any discussion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Bob Luder.
Aye.
Luke Kramer.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett. Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Carrie McLowski.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to D, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-137, revisions to development agreement with T&H Holdings. Mr. Patrick?
This is yet another revision of the developers agreement with T&H Holdings out at TID number 12. Steve has been working with them, so Steve, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, there were some questions by the developer as to the meaning of some of the language in the agreement. And so what I did is I wrote the language, I became much more explicit with the language so that everything that they were wondering if this, does this what this means? I wrote it so that, yes, this is what this means. So that it provides more clarity. You know, it's one of those things that I thought it was clear, but sometimes lawyers read documents they think are clear and other people don't. So that's really all we've added. There are two slight changes that I should point out that don't appear in the document, but again, they're Scribner type things. I did note that they have sold some of their land, so they really don't have 20.46 acres, which is in the first recital under the whereas paragraph. They only have 15 acres left because the hotel has the acreage that was originally there. So it doesn't affect the project. They don't know exactly how many acres are going to be part of this project, so I still can't fill in that blank. And the other thing is, one place I wrote the word round, R-O-N-D, instead of ground. And so I said, yes, I'll make that change. So those are the two changes that are in the document besides the document changes in blue, which are done by me as your city attorney, clarifying the language that you previously approved.
And also, I've just had that Exhibits 8 and 9 said Hodag Hospitality would change those T&H Holdings.
Oh, yeah, so everything has to say T&H Holding, right?
Yep.
Because that's the name they're going by now. It's still different players.
So the only question I have for you, Steve, if you
Yes.
could confirm, is the current value of the property in question now.
Yes?
If that were to decrease, is there any protections in this development agreement to protect the city for a
Yes.
decrease in value?
Yes, they have to maintain the current value of the property. They can't do anything to decrease the value of the property. I mean, they can't turn it into a dump site or, you know, something. That's part of the establishment. They know that, they recognize that. They thought that they would have to bring the property up, would they have to start paying taxes on $8 million before they got there? And I said, no, you don't have to pay, but that's what our expectation is. And if you fall short of $8 million in assessed valuation, you're not going to get the whole TIF that we promised you because there won't be enough to generate the money we promised you. Remember that a TIF is simply generating tax increments off of the improvements they make to the land. They still have to pay for the land and the value as it currently exists, but if they have an increment increasing the value, that increment and the tax that's generated by that increment then goes to pay for the utilities and the infrastructure that they put in, and we're allowing them to use the tax dollars that are being generated by the increment to pay for those utilities and those public improvements, where they're not really paying for their own bills, they're paying for really the public aspects of the project.
So we need a motion if council chooses to move forward with the revised development agreement.
Joe Peck moved to approve resolution number 2024-137, approving revisions to the developers agreement with T&H Holdings LLC.
Hold second.
Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Luke Kramer. Aye. David Holt.
Aye.
Bob Luter.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett. Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to E, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-138. Pete's Trailer Sales. I refer to our city administrator.
This is for a purchase of a 22-foot trailer for our streets department. If you look in your packet, you will see that you will start getting from department heads when they have a purchase request, you will start seeing memos from them, from all of them. Justin Ernst went out, got 2 quotes for this. One is from Pete's Trailers for $86.69.50, and got another one from the King Company for $88.69.49. Justin recommends the Pete's Trailer Sales quote be accepted. This is for moving big equipment from to and fro from different work sites.
Kramer, I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2024-138, approving the quote from Pete's Trailer Sales Inc. for the purchase of a 22-foot equipment trailer for the city's street department for $8,669.50.
Luter, second. Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
David Holt.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Luke Kramer.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett. Bob Luter.
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to F, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-139, truck discharge operation permit. Patrick?
Again, you'll see a memo in here on page 120 from Kurt Johnson, a wastewater treatment plant foreman. This is something that comes to you. Apparently, there's a backstory here somewhere, but this comes to council for approval, these types of discharge permits. Kurt's recommending that this be approved.
Mr. Holt?
I will make a motion to approve proposed resolution 2024-139, approving an application for a truck discharge operation permit from Calsa Septic Service, Inc.
Anderson, second.
Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Thomas Barnett. Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Bob Luter.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Luke Kramer.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to G, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-140 regarding a Silverado.
Yep, this is a purchase of a request for a purchase for a Chevy Silverado from Kurt Johnson. Kurt does a good job. You got a memo. Kurt is the memo master. You also got a breakdown, which is really nice, of the different quotes that he received. He followed the city's purchasing policy to a T, looking to replace a 2002 Ford F-350 that is rusting out, basically. So he's looking to replace that. This will be coming from something that they call the Equipment Replacement Fund. In other communities I've worked in, it's been called an RR&I account. This is something that I believe the DNR, but also the USDA, when you take their funds, they have the municipality for water and wastewater set aside funds. The RR&I stands for Repair, Replace, and Improve. So this is basically forcing you to save money. So this isn't coming out of the general fund or out of their operating fund or anything like that. This is money that's been set aside since the wastewater treatment plant was built. So
Joe Peck moved to approve resolution number 2024-140, approving the purchase of a 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 crew cab work truck from Ganrud Auto Group for the price of $45,888.50 for the city's wastewater treatment plant.
Mikulowski, second.
Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Luke Kramer.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett. Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Bob Luter.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to 13H, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-141. This will be a change order for the mill and overlay of Pelican Street for additional
25,000. Mark is here to talk about, but before Mark talks about it, you get so used to writing these change orders, and they all say mustn's. This one said Northeast Asphalt. Mark pointed that out to me today. So this is actually Northeast Asphalt, not mustn's. And the same will be for the pay app. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So this seems like a very large change order. What happened here, this was a mill and overlay. We milled face of curb to face of curb. When we milled the 1.5 inches off, what we found is there's deteriorated concrete underneath that asphalt, that first layer of asphalt. And the surface was very rough. We had a bunch of large aggregate. If you were to pave just a surface course of asphalt over it, you would see that in the ride of the surface. So what we had to do was mill that off, and then we put a wedge layer, about 1.5 inches, about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, that went over the top of that rough surface, and then we put the surface course on top of that. So the idea was to smooth out that binder course layer and then put the surface on. So what you're seeing in this change order is that wedge cost, the cost of the asphalt. There's additional cost for tack coat in there as well, because I had to tack both surfaces. So that's what you're seeing. That was done per tonnage, and it comes to $25,982.76.
So just as a point of clarification, if we wouldn't have done this, what would be the expected life expectancy of the mill and overlay?
I guess it depends on what you would say the life is. You're with this now, you're still gonna have to do some crack filling. Whenever you do a mill and overlay, expect that you're gonna get reflective cracking, meaning any cracks that you see in the binder course are gonna be reflected up into the surface. If you have a nice smooth binder surface, little cracking, little potholing, you will get additional life. What you see out there now is definitely going to get you a 10-year life. If we would not have done that, it might have been 5 years less. You would have definitely felt the rough ride on the surface immediately.
So roughly-ish, and I know a lot of it depends on frost and travel. It doubled the life of what we did to the work by doing this change order. So, Mr. Kramer?
My question is, will this all be done this year, or because we have to put 2 layers on, will it be like?
It's already completed.
It is complete?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So what we do with that, Luke, when we do the surface course the following year, that's when we're doing pipe work. So the idea is if we're digging a trench, we're putting pipe in, we want to allow for that trench to go through a freeze thaw and identify any settlement. For something like this, it was just road construction, we'll put the surface on the same year if we don't do any trench work underneath it.
Mr. Anderson?
There's still money available for this additional work?
Yes, through the PrEP fund. Ms. Michalowski?
I'll move to approve resolution number 2024-141, approving change order number 1 for the Pelican Street Improvements Project in the amount of $25,982.76.
Hold second.
Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Luke Kramer.
Aye.
Carrie Michalowski.
Aye.
Bob Luder.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett. David Holt.
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to I. Discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-142. Change order regarding Oneida Street Utility Project for $10,386. Mark?
This change order has 2 items on there. One is for removal and replacing additional asphalt on Pelham. What this is the city parking lot. We adjusted the extents of the project, moving a little further into the parking lot. So for that big area, pulling out the base course and the asphalt, there's some additional costs. That'd be the work change directive 26. 27 is for additional pavement markings. On our plan, we did not have pavement marking for the Barnes intersection. We added that. Along with this, we added the pavement marking for Grant Street is included in this change order. And then throughout the project, as we move the limits of construction, we'll have to replace the pavement marking. So if we moved beyond the intersection if we have to replace crosswalks, stop bars, that kind of stuff. We did add some additional stop bars on Oneida, and some of the intersecting streets, we had to add some additional pavement marking. North side of Courtney particularly is one of them. We also did, you'll see parking stalls on there. There was a private parking lot where we redid the parking stalls, a chiropractor on Anderson, I believe. So all these costs are itemized in this change order, and they're in line with the costs of the pavement marking throughout the project.
Mikulowski, I'll move to approve resolution number 2024-142, approving change order number 8 to the contract with Musson Brothers, Inc. for the 2023 Oneida Avenue Area Utilities Street Improvements Project in the amount of $10,386.27.
Jopek, second.
Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Bob Luter.
Aye.
Luke Kramer.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett. Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to J. Discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-143. Looks like a pay application for $154,000. Mark?
To northeast.
For $154,000.
Oh, yeah, it's Oneida, sorry.
So the Pelican pay request should be for $95,505.
Yeah, it's the next one, Mark.
J.
Oh, Ron Oneida.
Yeah, we're on J. My bad.
Okay, so this one is for the United project. What you're seeing on here, less a couple signage quantities you see throughout the project on some of the streets. The majority of this is the pay request or the change order we just discussed, and work on Grant Street. So that's all you're seeing on this pay request. The total requested amount is $162,545.28. We're still holding 5% retainage. With that retainage held, it comes to $154,418.01, which is the amount we recommend.
Jopek, move to approve resolution number 2024-143, approving the application for payment number 13 from Musson Brothers Incorporated for work completed on the 2023 Oneida Avenue Area Utility and Street Improvements Project in the amount of $154,418.01.
Hold second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Luke Kramer.
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Bob Luter.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett. Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to K. Discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-144. This is a pay application for Pelican Street, amount of $95,000. Mark?
The only thing I'd like to add, the change order we just discussed is included in here. You see the quantities for the tack coat. I had mentioned there's additional tack coat they put down when they did the wedge. You'll see that extra quantity in there. This project is complete. Once we do the final pay request, I would like to add, Joe brought up funding. This is an LRIP funded, partially LRIP funded project. So you'll be receiving, I believe, about $26,000 on this. So once council approves this, there's just some paperwork I need to fill out, get submitted, and DOT should reimburse that in the next month.
Mikulowski, I'll move to approve resolution 2024-144, approving the application for payment number 1 from Musson Brothers, Inc. for work completed on the 2024 Pelican Street Street Improvement Projects in the amount of $95,505.51.
Hold second.
Motion second. Mr. Anderson?
This is the one that should be northeast asphalt rather than Musson Brothers.
Yeah, it should be northeast asphalt.
Ms. Mikulowski and Holt, you okay with that?
Yes.
You too, Mr. Holt?
I'm sorry?
Just changing it to northeast asphalt versus Musson?
Yes.
Okay. Motion second. Any other discussion on the motion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
David Holt.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Luke Kramer.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett, Bob Luder,
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to L, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-145. Looks like it's buying a Silverado for streets department.
Yep, Justin Ernst, again, has a memo here. He's looking for to buy a Chevy Silverado 1500 four-wheel drive work truck from Badger Chevrolet for $42,699.50. He followed the purchasing policy. We are good to go. This is replacing an incredibly old truck, if memory serves, in 1998. And boy, it's weird to say that's incredibly old, but it is incredibly old for a truck. A 1998 Chevy 1500 two-wheel drive. So that has outlived its useful life.
Joe Peck moved to approve resolution number 2024-145, approving the purchase of a 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500 four-wheel drive work truck from Badger Chevrolet for $42,699.50 for the city's street departments. Streets department.
Kramer second.
Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Thomas Barnett, Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
Bob Luder,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Luke Kramer,
Aye.
Stephen Joe Peck.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to M, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-146. Refer to our city administrator.
This is for some purchase for some office equipment here at City Hall. The big lion's share of this, if you want to look down to your left and to your right, you'll see why you need these. We need new chairs, ordering 14 new chairs. These things are literally falling apart. What we're looking to do, the city clerk needs a new desk. His desk, I think, is older than he is, and so that needs to be purchased as well. This is coming through using ARPA funds. So these funds, if we don't expend them by the end of December, we got to send them back. So this is looking, and Wendy, I don't know if you want to correct me, but last count I remember it was about 13,000 that we had, correct? That's correct. So about 13,000 in funds that we have left there.
Mr. Joe Peck?
I'm trying not to be that guy, but have we clarified, I guess, amongst the city employees and the departments, like that, I guess, that there's anything maybe of higher priority than the chairs that might be needed, a couple $1,000s might be needed?
You've got 13 department heads. I'm sure you'd have 13 answers.
Yeah.
They'll all tell you that, and they're all right, and they are all correct. I'm not saying they're wrong, but right now, like I said, it's kind of weird to have a conference up here, a seminar up here. Austin holds election training and whatnot, and have them up here and have these chairs literally falling apart. If you look down too, you'll see little black pieces of whatever material this is laying all down there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that they're a thing. I guess I was just looking at it, trying to, I don't know, being that guy. All right, anyways. Joe Peck moved to approve resolution number 2024-146, approving the purchase of office equipment from Uline for Rhinelander City Hall for $4,688.74, utilizing American Rescue Plan acts.
Luder second.
Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Luke Kramer,
Aye.
Stephen Joe Peck,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett, Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Bob Luder.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to N, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-147. Refer to our city clerk.
So I'm just looking to get one more poll worker approved here before our election coming up. They've been background checked and everything, so they're good to go. So looking to have them join my crew on Tuesday.
Holt. Move to approve proposed resolution 2024-147, approving the appointment of election officials for the 2024-2025 term.
Kramer second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Stephen Joe Peck,
Aye.
Luke Kramer,
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
Bob Luder,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett, David Holt,
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to O, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-148. This is regarding a liquor license for the Cobblestone. I refer to our city clerk.
So the only thing I would like for council to consider is having this be approved based on when they are granted their occupancy. We are waiting for them to be finally ready to go, and once they are ready to go, if you were to grant this liquor license now, I will actually issue it once it's been inspected by the fire department and the inspection department, and they have their official occupancy.
Sounds like we're expecting that within a week or so.
Joe Peck moved to approve resolution number 2024-148, approving a CBC license for Rhinelander Cobblestone LLC on the condition of granting of occupancy by the inspections department.
Luder, second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Anderson?
What does CBC mean?
So that is a Class B retail combo license. So that is just meaning a beer and a liquor license. That's just one way that the state kind of shorthands that.
Any other discussion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Bob Luder.
Aye.
Luke Kramer.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett. Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to P, which is a discussion and/or action. City of Rhinelander Golf Course Committee recommendations. Refer to our city administrator.
So the golf course committee, which was formed last year, has been meeting monthly for about a year now, and came to a final formal recommendation, which is included in your packet. We met a ton of times. Chief Tenoncourt is part of it. I'm part of it. We've been meeting monthly, and I took a tour of the course, have gone over their financials, had lots of conversations on this. What the golf course is recommending, golf course committee is recommending to you is right here, right in front of you. Again, this is a recommendation, but the Northwoods Golf Course, separate from the Hill Creek property, needs to be appraised. The course would best be served, brought back as a city department without a management company, and a formal capital improvement plan should be developed for the course. Lots of conversation took place between should this be brought back into the fold as a city department, or should this be sold, and there was a lot of talk about it, but ultimately this is what was decided on by the committee. You can do with that as you will.
So the one caveat I would put on is through our budget process, you know, if you look at the golf course committee the golf course budget, we're paying Oliphant north of $90,000.
$100,000, yeah.
To manage the property. So that's not paying for the staff at the property, that's paying for them to manage it, do the bookkeeping, and just run day to day, so it's not our headache. So potentially, if this were to be brought back in-house, there could be a cost savings there to help make that more profitable. So, Mr. Jopek?
How significant of a labor would it be for HR, for instance? Because we'd be adding a significant number of employees, four full-timers, I think I saw. Not to mention your seasonals, and so how is that going to impact our HR department? I guess a lot of that cost savings, I wonder if that's going to get lost in needing to hire somebody to make sure that is appropriately managed from year to year.
Well, you pay Rachel, who's the HR manager. I mean, you pay her a flat fee. It's just going to add more to her plate. She would be the one to oversee as far as HR goes. So I don't think there'd be a cost increase there. You're going to need to hire a general manager, a course groundskeeper, superintendent, and probably an assistant as well. So those would all have to go out. Currently, those folks that are out there are contracted employees with Oliphant. So we're going to have to still pay. But what the mayor is talking about is right now we pay everything anyhow. Plus we pay $95,000 to $100,000 to Oliphant to manage. So basically what you're looking to do here is bring it back in-house, and then it becomes pretty much $100,000 savings. But Wendy and I talked about this earlier, and I was really expecting Wendy to go, no, this is going to be more work for me. And she basically said, and Wendy, you correct me if I'm wrong, but no, this won't be a problem. We used to do this. We can do it again.
Another thing to keep in mind too is as we go through these budget hearings with them, their budget process system and software doesn't mesh nice with ours. So that actually makes a headache for Wendy trying to figure out how to accurately report that. So if it was in-house, that would be actually probably a wash for the amount of time Wendy spends doing that versus, the little bit of billing that would incur. Mr. Anderson?
Has anybody tried to investigate the cost of getting an appraisal?
Have not.
That does sound like a good idea anyway, to have an idea of what we've really got out there.
Yeah. Especially if you're looking to sell it. So if you're not looking to sell it, then it's just a cost.
That's why I'm wondering how much. Yeah.
Yeah, that can be investigated.
Mr. Jopek?
Just asking for a refresher, if we were to adopt the recommendation, like what's the timeline look like for that? Would this be after next year or, again, I'm looking for a refresher on how long that contract goes for.
And
It's done at the end of this year.
Yeah, so Steve, jump in anytime we start to get a little gray. So the contract with Oliphant does end this year. So if we want to stay with Oliphant, you're going to want to be looking at that contract before the end of the year to keep service running smoothly. If we didn't want to, I suppose we can make that known at our next council meeting, put the contract on the agenda and make it known. And that way it gives them a couple months to wrap stuff up, us a couple months to figure out how we're going to post it and all that kind of stuff.
And also, right now, our HR manager, who would be kind of critical to this whole thing, is out right now. She's going to be back next week, so that would actually be serendipitous.
Mr. Jopek?
Has she been made aware of, like, this could be on the horizon? And has she had, what responses has she kind of had to that?
We've talked about it. I haven't gone in depth. There's so many moving parts to the city, so this hasn't been the critical focus. So Rachel can handle it. Rachel's pretty good. She used to work for the big three. If she can handle the big three HR, she can. I think this would be well within her realm.
Okay, thank you.
And keep in mind, the recommendations isn't take it all or leave it all. You could pick and choose how you want to move forward. But we're looking for some direction of just, do you want us to start researching the cost of an appraisal? Do you want us to start looking at their contract for renewal or to end or what have you? Ms. Michalowski?
I'm just wondering, with the insurance cost presentation that we got tonight, if that $100,000 could potentially be used towards that.
No, because it's a special revenue fund, so it's not general fund. So if anything, that could help repay back the general fund for the initial investment over time, which would ease up that burden, but it won't be a dollar for dollar.
One of the things, if I may, so with a golf course, it's continually you're going to be reinvesting in it. You are going to be putting money into it. When we went out there, when the golf course committee went out there and took a look at it, we just, kind of eyeballed it and said this could be $300,000, $500,000 for new equipment. Your equipment out there is like Austin's desk, older than Austin. It is some old equipment that needs to be replaced. Sorry, Austin. It is some old equipment that needs to be replaced. If you're going to hang on to this, that's why the capital improvement plan was important, because what the golf course committee had said was basically, yeah, we've had capital improvement plans before, but they just went by the wayside. They get kicked down the road, kicked down the road, kicked down the road, and it's like the smallest dog at the trough type of thing. So, and that can happen again. They're going to have to be on their game. Whoever runs it is going to have to be a good one and going to have to really work at it. But to keep this asset, we need to take good care of it.
So other potential cost savings would be in equipment as well, because like right now, they have their own plow truck. Their plow truck is not in great shape. So that's one of those, if this was more in-house, there might be cost savings with not having to have an extra plow truck. I don't know, Patrick, if you would know more, but, if this was in-house, I don't know if we would have to buy a plow truck dedicated just to the golf course where we could save.
I think what you're at the point tonight is you need to give some direction to the administration as to what you would like them to do. We do need to look at the contract. We do need to come back to you with a proposal to end the contract or extend the contract. This is only the golf committee. It's really up to you, and it's up to the administration. Right now we're talking kind of off the top of our heads because we don't have a budget. We don't have the numbers. I think you're going to have that material, but you're going to have to decide relatively soon, if you're going to extend the contract or you're going to go out and look for a different management contract. That you're going to have to decide, because December 31st, you don't have a contract. And I can tell you, if you've never run a golf course, you've never been involved with running a golf course, you have to be running the golf course in December, January, and February. You can't wait till April to start running a golf course. All your supplies are ordered. In fact, I would guess Oliphant's already ordered all the supplies for next year, unless somebody told them not to. So you may well be in a situation, that's what we happened last time. I don't think there's very many of you, maybe David can remember, but the last time we switched, we had a lot of equipment that had been ordered, we had a lot of supplies that had been ordered, we had a lot of contracts that we were already locked into. And these are things that have to be investigated before you really make the final decision. I just know from having been in a position with regard to golf courses that you got to get going if you're going to get going. And a committee of lay people are really good, but they don't manage golf courses. You know, that's a whole different game. It's like everybody knows how to teach school until they have to, right, Steve? You know, so I'm just telling you that. So I'd like to, at least from a legal point of view, look at the contract to make sure you know exactly. And I'd like to look at if they've made any commitments to next year, whether those commitments are valid and stuff, because that's stuff that would have to be decided.
Mr. Luter?
Yeah, I was going to point out that I did sit in on that budget meeting where they did their presentation last month, I believe, and they did have in their budget proposal, they did have a large chunk of cash set aside to replace or update equipment. So, like, I think maybe even using the budget that they had even proposed would be a place we could start to see if we're able to carve some money out of that as far as savings go, if we're acquiring that equipment ourselves or if we're deciding to take this on. But either way, it's a good idea to get the appraisal done, because if we did decide to sell it after we've taken it on, at least we know what it's worth. Right now, we don't have any idea.
True. Mr. Jopek?
I guess I was going to ask, like you said, it's not an all or nothing. In this case, do you need like a separate motion for each? Because I think we all agree that each one of these three are valid and important. Do you just need like an overall like motion for direction, just to say like on all three to start pursuing?
I would say probably the most time-sensitive issue here would be number 2.
Okay.
After that, I would say number 1 and 3, if you guys want to move forward on all of them, would be the second bite we should look at.
Okay. Well, I will move to direct the city administrator and the mayor to move forward investigating and exploring the possibility of the golf course falling under falling under the city as a city department in the future, as well as looking at the contracts to see if that's a possibility.
Mikulowski, second.
Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, abstain. Motion passes. Any other motions or actions on this topic?
Well,
Mr. Luter?
Should we include in that or amend that motion to include the getting an appraisal done?
We'll get you a price.
Okay.
I will tell you right now, that your appraisal cost is going to be huge for a golf course. And I don't say that kindly. You may look at anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 to get an appraisal. And it's going to be very difficult to appraise a golf course in northern Wisconsin. I do a lot of appraisal work. I'm just telling you that, so you know that.
So the question I would have for the board is, are we even open to selling it? Because an appraisal is good for about 6 months, and then it starts to become obsolete as time goes by. So unless we're open to selling it in a year or so, I don't know if there's a value of spending that capital. Mr. Jopek?
I guess I was going from the lens of let's start the ball rolling as far as the department issue goes, and then make sure we have this as a future item to address once that has been addressed, and then we can talk about what that might look like. Because I agree, I think if we appraise too soon or something like that, we haven't even had a conversation about that, and so it's hard to see that.
Oh, Mr. Holt?
I agree. I was going to say the same thing. You make a really good point about the prison.
So, okay, anything else on this topic? Okay, not seeing. Communications, Mr. Patrick? Nothing? Okay, future agenda items. We have the conditional use permit and fee waiving. Anything anyone would like to add? Mr. Kramer?
I've been in contact with one of my constituents, and they would like us to have a discussion about possibly buying a leaf vacuum for the street department so that we could get rid of having all of the residents buy specific bags, bring them out to their curb. And if we could discuss that, she knows that it does not have to be done this year, but if we can start thinking about that in the future, maybe we can add it in.
Sure. Is it okay if we wait a meeting or two just to get past the budget and all these other?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Anything else for future agenda items? Okay, not seeing. Our next regular council meeting will be November 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m. It is 7:35, meeting adjourned.